We are 1 week into deployment. The ashes from last Wednesday have been washed off. The initial excitement of giving something up is wearing thin, and the hunger for the habit that you've been trying to break is starting to push back. In the military, we call this the sustainment phase. Anyone can look sharp on day one, but the mission isn't won on day one. It's won in the trenches of the second week when nobody is watching and your willpower is starting to flag. Today, for whatever Wednesday, we're going to do a mid mission check in. We're going to look at why Lent feels like a grind and how the tactical manual tells us to handle the fatigue. Why does Lent have to be 40 days? Why not a weekend retreat? Because 40 days is the biblical length for recalibration. In 1 Kings 19:8, Elijah traveled 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the Mount of God, on the strength of a single meal. In Matthew 4, Jesus fasted in the wilderness for 40 days before his public ministry began. The grind isn't a bug, it's a feature. The church fathers like St. John Chrysostom taught that fasting is the food of the soul because it starves the ego to feed the spirit. If your Lent feels easy, you aren't training. If it feels hard, congratulations, you've actually entered the combat zone. The world and even some modern ministries will tell you that if something feels like it makes you miserable or restricted, that it's not from God. They'll tell you that legalism is the enemy. But as a veteran, I know that discipline is the highest form of self-love. If I don't discipline my body, the enemy will exploit my weakness. St. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 9:27, I pummel my body and subdue it, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Lent isn't about feeling holy. It's about mortification, literally killing the parts of your nature that want to put yourself before God. If you feel like quitting today, that's just your ego dying. Let it die. Secular scholars and psychologists like William James have long noted that asceticism, the practice of self denial, is necessary for human greatness. He argued that we need to do something difficult every day just for the sake of the heroic discipline it builds. The church calls this divine pedagogy. God is teaching us how to be masters of ourselves so we can be servants to Him. The Catechism says in paragraph 2015, the way of perfection passes by the way of the cross. There is no holiness without reunification and spiritual battle. If you're already failed your Lenten resolution, if you ate the chocolate, checked the app, or lost your temper, don't desert your post. In the field, you don't quit the war because you lost a skirmish. You regroup, you confess, and you get back on the line. So here's your briefing for the rest of the week. Check your equipment. Are you praying more or just eating less? Fasting without prayer is just a diet. Hold the perimeter. When temptation to quit hits, remember Philippians 4:13. You can do all things through him who strengthens you. Eyes on the objective. We aren't doing this for the sake of suffering. We are doing this for the resurrection. Lent is a marathon, not a sprint. Adjust your pace, keep your boots laced, and stay on mission. We're holding the line. Thank you for watching, and God bless.